Are you a completist? Do you try to complete every single comic that was published? Or do you have a title that you're trying to get every single issue of that run? Let's talk about that today. And before we close the video, I also want to show you a pickup that I got this morning that I thought any comic related comic collector may also find kind of interesting. So first, let's talk about collecting. When you are buying a comic book, do you buy to fill up a whole run? Uh, I have bought many 10 and 15 long box collections in my day. And there, as you can imagine, are so many comics that I just don't own. And then I have to make the decision. Do I want to keep them? Do I want to sell them? Or what to do with them? Now, with the exception of like The Amazing Spider-Man and a couple of titles that I really like, I will collect the Silver Age portion of the run. So, and maybe even some Bronze Age. For example, with Amazing Spider-Man, he has always been, or has for the longest time been, one of my, if not my favorite, my favorite character. So, if I ever find a Silver Age book all the way up to the 35-cent cover price range, odds are I'm going to keep it. Just because they're just so old, I find them a little bit more difficult to come by. Now, Silver Surfer, the Silver Age Silver Surfer run, I will take any of those books and keep them. I just love that run. It's what, Stan Lee and I think Sal Buscema. I just think that's just a magnificent run. One of my favorite titles, and I have that the entire 18 run of that series. But typically, for my personal habits, and again, I'd ask you and encourage you to sound off. What do you do? Often when I have these boxes of comics and I'm selling them, I know people are rifling through and they are looking to complete runs. Sometimes they'll just pick up a comic that they just don't own. They may never have even heard of the title, but if they don't own it, they'll buy it. And I think that's great. I don't have the room for that. So I sort of gotten to be forced into, just because of sheer space, and limited space at that, I really only try to keep a very specific profile of comic. So I thought what I'd do today is show you a couple of the books that I keep. Even though I may not keep the run, I think they're just cool books, and it kind of is showing that I am not a completist. So the first, I have mentioned this book several times because this is, while it's not the exact copy, this is the book that started me on my comic collecting journey. The Amazing Spider-Man number 155. I am just a big Spider-Man fan. And I gotta believe a majority of you are also Spider-Man fans. He's wildly popular. I'm not even a big fan of this cover, but there's something that I really like about it, having the book that really started it all for me. I guess I wish I had the original copy too, but the way I used to take care of my comic books, I double board. I put things in Mylar. At the time, I just had, in the 70s, a comic book bag. It was a polyurethane bag, or who knows, I probably even stuck it in Ziploc bags or whatever. And the condition was just so much worse than this. So this is a nice copy, but that's the first issue that started me off on my comic collecting. Another book that really is proof that I'm not a completist is The Ghost Rider. I like the character. It's cool. I never bothered seeing the movie, but this issue in particular, I always liked. And Jim Starlin did this. I could tell you, I don't know if Jim Starlin did a lot of the Ghost Rider issues. I don't know. I don't buy those, and I don't actively seek out those issues. But for some reason, I thought this issue was great. It was just a fun read. It was all in one single issue. And I tend to be a Jim Starlin fan, sort of. I really like this issue. And again, this is just my label. It's not great or anything. I just put my own little label on it in a top loader. Another book that I really have no interest in filling out the whole run, but I'm glad I own this copy. It's Marvel 2-in-1 with the Thing and Man-Thing number 1. And I'm sorry about the glare. I guess my lighting is less than perfect, but so I have this issue number 1, But even if I pick up a collection and the whole run, number 2 through whatever is in there, I'm just going to toss the rest of them and sell them. I'm not interested in any Marvel 2-in-1s personally, but this one issue, just I kind of like the Man Thing. I actually, while I'm a superhero fan first and foremost, I do kind of like horror titles and like Mike Plug. Um, there's just such great artists. So I like a lot of the horror artists as well. But this is like the only Marvel 2-in-1 issue I have. Another book, Champions. I probably do have a couple of the issues like number 2 and 3, but you know, if I had the entire run of Champions, I would get rid of it. I like this issue, and I always thought, sorry about the glare. I always thought this was a cool cover with Hercules. I like it, so I got it, and I got it graded. Matter of fact, I think I acquired this as a graded book already, so I didn't send this out. I don't think. Boy, I think age is getting to me. I don't think I sent this out, but I like that issue. But I don't think I have many of this run. This is a book that I don't think I have any other issues, or I might have one. Probably not. But I like it. This Charlton title, Scary Tales. I love the cover. So the artist on there is Joe Staton. I met Joe Staton. He signed a couple of my copies of E-Man #1. Another, they're Charlton titles, and I don't know if you remember a lot of the Charlton books. They did the Phantom, E-Man, Scary Tales. They did a couple of those books. I think their paper quality was slightly degraded from Marvel and DC. But a couple of those titles I like, and I really do like this cover. Joe Stanton was a fine fellow. He signed my E-Man #1 and #2. I even remember him saying, he looked at it and said, wow, your copies are in better condition than my copies. So he was nice. He signed it. He signed it in a day where artists didn't even bother charging people to sign books. Really, really good guy. This next book, I love it. I don't have a lot of these Century books, but this is a Jay Lee cover, but he signed it Artie Rosen. So I think that's classic. It just looks so much like a Silver Age book. When I saw this cover, I thought it popped. And this was one of the books that I started through speculating. I saw it online. There was this #1 issue, which is the variant. I believe this is like the rarer variant. So I did. I mailed it out and I got it graded. But I had a couple of the other #1s and ended out selling those, keeping this one, and by selling the other ones, I made up for the cost of the entire lot that I bought. So I thought this was a cool book. I think I got it primarily because I love the cover. It just looks so classic. And when was this published? It was published in 2000. So it looks like a 60s book, but it was published in 2000. And for some reason, I just knew I wanted it. So I got it. But right, this does prove I'm not looking for other Century books. If I saw another copy of this, I would probably keep it because I love the cover. But I'm not looking to complete a run of the Century. I mentioned this before. I love this. Is probably my all-time favorite cover. So this actually is an exception to my completist rule. I love the Silver Surfer original series. Stan Lee did such a great job writing a great character. The art on this Silver Surfer Thor cover is my favorite of all times. I have a couple of covers, and maybe we'll do an episode on what covers you really love, but this is numero uno, and it has been for decades for me. So really, in this particular case, while I won't go out and even with Spider-Man, if it's beyond a 35-cent cover price, I'm not going to really bother trying to keep them. In fact, what I would like to do for the series is when I buy a collection, I would like to pull out some of the key books that I got from the collection and share it with you. It just hasn't the collections haven't come across my desk since I started this channel. But when I do see Silver Surfers in there, I always look to upgrade my existing run, and I have all the issues 1 through 18. Um, so this does become the exception of the rule with the Silver Surfer series. Okay, please sound off. Tell me what you guys do. Do you like to complete a run? I'm really interested in you folks that say, I want to collect one of every comic that I don't own. I think that's cool. I just don't have the room. And that's a lot of books. Just buying collections the way I do. I would have to say, probably in my lifetime, I've bought so many collections. They come and go from my garage, but I probably had over 100,000 books in my collection, and just ultimately sell them off what I don't like. Um, but I'm curious, do you keep one of everything? Do you get a storage facility to do it? Where do you keep them? How do you keep them? Do you box and board them all? Or do you bag, board, and then put them in boxes? I mean, that is a lot of resources that you're using. I'm just curious, but you guys who keep one of everything, I think that's amazing, and I'm sort of jealous, and I'd like to talk to you about it because I bet you have some amazing books, and it just kind of makes me jealous. Now, before I close, let me show you my pickup for today. It is actually not a comic book, but I saw this posted, and I had to get it. Do you remember these? This is a robot from the Zeroids. It's a 1967 robot collection from Ideal. So Ideal was the toy manufacturer that created this. This is Zintar. I think Zintar is the Explorer. This poor little guy has seen better days. He doesn't have his little tracks there. So he's broken. I didn't even expect it to work. I'm not looking to put batteries and playing with it, but I love these robots. This is something, and Ernie, if you are watching my videos, this is something that when I was a boy, my best friend Ernie had such great toys. He had Zeroids, he had Colorform aliens. If you haven't seen the Colorform aliens, trust me, they are so cool. They were like the foil characters for the Major Matt Masons. So I think they were 7-inch. They were the rubber characters that you move their arms and they have little pieces of wire in there. So what happens? They don't last that long. And Ernie's are probably very, very well played, but he had all these toys that I was so jealous of. So I guess a part of that is kind of forming my personality profile now. When I see a toy of my childhood that I couldn't afford or I didn't have, I pick it up now. So this is Zintar. Zintar. Had to get it today. I hope to, when I get collections, I'm going to be sharing it with you. I just haven't had any opportunity to have any buys lately. Anyway, guys, this is episode 4 of John the Comic Guy. I thank you for watching. If you like what you're watching and you think the conversation is fun, sound off. Please make some comments. Please subscribe. If you have friends that you think would like this channel, please have them subscribe. And it's about 2 weeks away from the Ocean City, New Jersey Con on the Music Pier in Ocean City, New Jersey. I will see you. I will be making a couple more videos by that point, I am sure. But I really do thank you for joining me for these conversations. Let me know what you're doing. Let me know if you are a big completist. And I think the next episode I would like to talk about, unless another topic really comes up and distracts me, I believe I want to talk about, are you grade obsessed? Are you only looking for 9.8s? Because I've known some collectors that really are focused on having the best of the best condition. Now, obviously, I am an upgrader. I will always upgrade my collection. But just curious, are you 9.8 obsessed or not? So everybody, thank you for watching. This is John the Comic Guy, and I will see you guys soon.